The second biggest problem with converting a house to a clinic, either GP, physio, dentist, those sorts of things, is obtaining the building permit. So within that, the building permit needs to be able to demonstrate that with the design that you can achieve disability access through all doors, which is the width of the door being 850 millimetres clear, and a clear latch side for approach and departure for someone in a wheelchair of another 530, and on the hinge side of the door, 110 mil to allow the door to fully swing out of the line, so to enable a clear path through of minimum 850. So we need to be able to achieve that. We need to also be able to achieve disability accessible toilets. Because of the Disability Discrimination Act, we must provide disabled toilets. So they're actually quite big these days in terms of length and width and circulation spaces, and clear, enable easy transfer and operation by someone who's wheelchair bound. And we also need to consider the building permit needs to address the car parking allowances for practitioner ratios, and also pedestrian paths to the accessible points of entry into the building. And a really interesting one that comes up, often not thought of, is when people converting a house to a clinic. When it's for example, it could be like a timber and stump floor, where a house only requires a floor strength of 1.5 kPa. So we're looking at people moving around, lounge suites, things like that. But when you change to commercial use, it needs to be a floor strength of 3 kPa loading. So it's a timber floor. How do we deal with this? So any key point load areas, such as where a dentist chair is placed, where a filing room is placed, any heavy equipment, those sorts of things, then the subfloor needs to be stiffened, and the top layer also needs to be stiffened as well to be able to meet that criteria, and an engineering report to say that it can. And another interesting one, and often debated, is electrical. There's really specific electrical requirements for any medical clinic of any kind, even something like a chiropractor. And what that requires is body protected circuits. So each room has its own tiny little switchboard near the door. It has super fast acting residual current device safety switches per room. And each room requires, there's a sticker underneath it. It has to be signed off and certified by an independent electrical consultant, independent electrical inspector, and that each room has to be signed off. Regardless of what anyone tells you, this is what's required for a building permit. And another thing is the paths of travel. So disability paths of travel. So people think I'm going to convert a house to a clinic. Now, not too many houses have passageways of 1.5. So in a lot of cases, to approach a doorway, we need with our 110 millimetre hinge side, 850 clear, then 530 latch side. There's actually quite a wide passage required to be able to make each room accessible. There are some provisions where the passageway can reduce to 1250, thinking about accessing with a wheelchair. So these sorts of things all need to be addressed within the building permit application, and it is more of a challenge converting a house to a clinic because of the original design for compact living. It doesn't allow for these wide passages. And another thing is the fire egress, so that needs to be addressed too. So the doors need to be swinging outwards, whereas a house always swings in. There's all those little things that go into making up the building permit application. These are really, really critical steps. Another one is also the cost of, or the requirement for, say, hand basins in each room. That has to be addressed, and also air conditioning. So to become a commercial operation, which is what this is going from a residence to a commercial building, we need air conditioning that provides for fresh air allowance. We need to be able to, the building code doesn't care whether you're hot or cold, but it does care that you've got fresh air. So there's new air coming in, new supply air, and keeping everything fresh, mold free, and a healthy, happy place to work.